Representative Hanabusa, this question is for you. Several states have enacted laws allowing qualified patients to use medical marijuana, and 2 states have legalized recreational marijuana use. Yet possession and use are still federal crimes. At what point should the federal government back off?
You know, I think that Hawaii was one of the early states, because I remember voting for medical marijuana during one of the first years that we were in office. And I believe that the president has said that his attorney general has said that they would not be enforcing on the medical marijuana front. I would like to see this issue be really one determined by the states themselves. The states should make that decision. And I believe that the federal government should have a law or a policy that they will not interfere with whatever that state and its legislature and its people determine is in their own best interest.
Rebuttal, Senator.
Well, the states are the laboratory of democracy, and democracy is occurring when it comes to this issue. I don't think Hawaii is ready for it. I don't think we're ready for nationwide legislation, but I do think that we have to have a national conversation about the extent to which our drug laws are incarcerating young men and women and ruining their lives. This is a question of fiscal policy because we are wasting so much money on our prison system. It's also a moral question to the extent that we're incarcerating our young men and women for nonviolent drug possession. It's not the right thing to do by these young men and women. And so we have to have that national conversation about the extent to which our criminal justice system is actually rigged against young men and women for nonviolent drug possession.
Thank you very much, Senator.
Senator Schatz, for you, even with Hawaii's abundance of renewable energy sources, as you well know, energy prices here in Hawaii for gas and electricity are the highest in the nation. What can you do in Congress to change that?
Well, you know, this is something I'm very passionate about, Chad. We pay 3 to 4 times the national average for electricity, and it's really hurting families. It's hurting businesses, it's hurting institutions, but most importantly, it's hurting all of us when we get our electric bill. Look, we've got to move forward with the clean energy revolution. Wind is working. The solar revolution, I know people across the state of Hawaii are participating in it and saving lots and lots of money. We've also got to move forward with conservation and efficiency. I'm the chairman of the Water and Power Committee in the United States Senate, and that's put me in a position to advance Hawaii's clean energy initiative, but also to make sure that people understand that we can be an example for the rest of the world. We can really show the world how it's done in terms of saving money on electric bills and moving forward with a clean energy economy.
Rebuttal, Representative.
The Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative was passed when I was Senate President, and let's give credit where credit is due. Governor Lingle was governor, and the democratically controlled House and Senate passed that initiative. We also had early on the renewable energy portfolio also enacted into law. But what we do know is that it's going to take time for all of these to finally kick in. So what we need to do is really look at all the alternatives that we have. Those alternatives include geothermal. It also includes the question of whether or not Hawaii will rely upon liquid natural gas in the interim until we get to the point that we are 100% self-sustained.
Thank you, Representative.
Congresswoman Hanabusa, there's been a lot written about the former contractor for the National Security Agency. Edward Snowden, hero or traitor?
You know, I think that if he wouldn't be asking for amnesty if he didn't have a problem with what's happening. I think that he has to come forward, he has to stand trial, and see how his peers to judge him. That's what this is all about. Yes, we learned a lot through what he did, but was he truly a whistleblower? Those are decisions that our court system has to determine. And that is what I believe in, that the United States court systems will have to make the decision on whether Mr. Snowden is a hero or a criminal. Notwithstanding that, he must stand, he must return to the United States, he must explain to us how all of this occurred, how he as a contractor was able to get the sensitive information, and then our proper process and procedures within our government has to take action.
Rebuttal, Senator.
Well, I don't think he's a hero, but I think the main issue here is not so much what we think of Edward Snowden, but how we need to reform the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act to protect our Fourth Amendment rights under the Constitution. And this is an area where Colleen and I differ. One of my first votes in the United States Senate was against the reauthorization of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, and it was for one simple reason. I did not think that it protected our privacy within the confines of the Fourth Amendment. I do not believe that FISA is being administered properly, and I think the surveillance state has gotten a little bit over the edge. The Congress has to exercise its oversight responsibility, and this is a difference between Colleen and myself.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Schatz, the President plans to make the world's largest ocean sanctuary here in the Pacific. How do you balance enforcement with the impacts to the local fishing industry?
Well, I think your question is exactly right. We're pleased that the President understands how important the oceans are. We're pleased that the President continues to focus on the Pacific in terms of conservation. But we've been working with the longline fishing industry locally to try to make sure that this is done in a way that's compatible with industry. Look, we've got a sustainable longline fishery in the state of Hawaii, and it's a big Pacific Ocean. So my very simple view is this. We think we can move forward with some conservation plans and keep our sustainable fishery going. It is one of the bright spots in our economy. We all love eating the fish that they bring home, that they land, and that we eat at Pier 38 or in our various restaurants and supermarkets. And so that's something we want to continue to support. At the same time, we also believe very strongly in ocean conservation. And so we think we can work with the White House and with the State Department and with the conservation agencies to find that right balance.
Rebuttal, Representative.
You know, this is a fundamental difference between Brian and me. You know, he will go on and he'll say these things, but he'll not even answer the fundamental question, which is what is this marine sanctuary that the President is proposing? We've asked that question. We're supposed to have a discussion with John Podesta, who's leading it, and no one really knows what this 200 miles is going to be. Is it going to be an extension of Papahanaumokuakea, or is it going to be the isolated islands, and how does it work? Until we understand exactly what's being proposed, you really don't know what the impact is going to be. Just like the statement he made about FISA earlier. Brian, you have to start to read the bills to really understand what you're talking about. You didn't vote to end FISA. What you voted for was to give the President unbridled authority, just like George Bush and Cheney.
Thank you very much, Representative. Now it's time for the candidates to ask questions of each other. Each candidate has no more than 30 seconds to ask a question. The candidates each will have 1 minute to answer and 30 seconds for rebuttal. And Senator Schatz, you have the first question.
Thank you. Colleen, in 2013, you voted to require the use of the Simpson-Bowles budget plan. Senior citizens and labor groups criticized this because it would do the following: cut Social Security benefits and raise the retirement age, cut Medicare benefits by increasing co-pays for seniors, give the rich tax breaks and eliminate the mortgage interest deduction. Do you regret this vote, or do you stand by it?
You know, Brian, you again misstate what I did and what a vote is. You said, I think it was in the Big Island, that I voted for H.R. 444, which I assume is what this is supposed to reference to, and I voted no. Now, you've also said that I voted for things like the Monsanto Protection Act on Kauai, and I voted no, and you voted yes. And again, you misstate what this whole issue is about. I have stood by Social Security, and I stand by my strong position on Social Security and the preservation of the benefits for our seniors. Unlike you, who voted to extend the cuts to Medicare for an additional 2 years, I did not vote that because I know what it means to our kapuna. At least, Brian, understand what the bills are and look at them carefully before you make these kinds of accusations. That is not what that vote was about.
Well, I can't wait for the fact checkers to get after this one. Let me read from the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, and a letter dated February 5th, 2013. This was a bad vote, Colleen. I urge you to oppose an amendment to H.R. 444, Require a Plan Act, and you voted for that, because it would include proposals that would cut Social Security by raising the retirement age to 69, cut Social Security by reducing the cost of living adjustments, cut Social Security by altering the benefit formula, and cut Medicare by increasing cost sharing for seniors. Colleen, you didn't answer the question because you took a bad vote.
Thank you very much. Now, Representative, you have your question.
Brian, at the Hilo debate, you described PRP's dirty tactics to smear Governor Ben Cayetano as deplorable. Then in the same breath, you said you hired Andy Weiner, a key paid architect of the smear, as your chief of staff because he was the best man for the job. So, Brian, what did you know of Andy's involvement in the deplorable smear, as you call it, and when did you know it?
Colleen, you know I hired Andy Weiner because he's a very capable chief of staff. He's done a very good job for the state of Hawaii. He was the director of external affairs for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. He worked for Danny Akaka. He was the interim state director for Mazie Hirono. He worked actually in the coordinated campaign helping to get you elected, Colleen. But look, I set the tone in my campaign. I set the tone in my office. And I found what happened in 2012 to be objectionable, as many people across the state of Hawaii did. I will not allow those kinds of tactics to occur under my watch. I am a happy warrior. I'm running a positive campaign, and you know it.
You didn't answer the question, Brian. If you read Andy's Senate financial disclosure statement, you would know that he was paid $131,000 to do this deplorable scheme, as you call it. Now, I'm willing to give you more of my time, but you still find him to be the best man for the job. So I ask you again, Brian, what did you know and when did you know it?
And we are going to go and take a break right now, because that was the questions. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to join Laura Yamada at the Web Center because she has questions that have been sent in from our viewers. We'll be right back.